Hello and welcome back to Dope. I am Chris Mims, and I'm here with another conversation with someone who's very familiar with this space.
Hello, I live here. And I'm Janice Peregrina.
This is Janice, aka Janice Peregrina, aka Clever Girl, aka Scrap Witch, aka DJ Psychic T, aka... What else you got?
Do I have any more?
You have any more?
I'm not gonna disclose my Neopets username.
Why not?
Not just yet. Don't look me up.
Oh yeah, we're all
I'm
running.
moving silence over there.
Running to Neopets.
Yeah, they're having a resurgence. I don't need anybody knowing who I am on Neopets. I'm still on Neopets. I am not ashamed.
So you're saying that by the end of this podcast, I can't get you to say your Neopets username for fear that...
I don't know, man. Who will really look me up? We'll see. We'll get there when we get there.
Okay. Well, yes, this is a very special episode because, yes, I haven't disclosed it, I don't think, on any episode. But yes, this place where we've been shooting this podcast is where I live, and therefore we will not be disclosing the address. Yeah, we live here. We've lived here for about a year. So I wanted to bring you onto the podcast to I don't know. I know this isn't going to be your only sitting on this podcast, more than likely.
That's good.
We're going to be working on projects for a while now, and as the show develops and we're working on those projects, I'll more than likely have you on to talk about those projects as well as like anything else that you're doing. So with this episode, I really kind of wanted to just give like a vibe for what's going on here. We're just going to talk.
Cool.
This is going to be the talk
low
episode.
Stakes. I like low stakes.
I always try to make sure that these episodes are conversational, but they always end up being kind of interviewy because I have like things that I want to talk about.
Points to hit, a little more structured than
phone
breaks in between a couple of questions.
But this time, I'm going to keep the phone locked.
Okay.
There's not going to be a Google Doc that I'm referencing. And we're just gonna chat it out.
Okay. Sounds fun.
Because that's what we do around here. We talk about politics, movies, a lot about music, and I just think that this is just going to be a fun episode.
Fun one.
Yeah, I think people are just going to like want to see us talk.
Okay, cool. I think so. I think I am constantly surprised by how often we can just like talk for like an hour straight, and like it's very seamless and it flows, and I just don't understand how we can just keep doing that.
We're very practiced.
Yeah.
So what's been up? What's going on today?
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Today has been pretty interesting. So this morning, you were setting all of this up, and I was getting out of bed. So that's always kind of fun. I have a cat, and she usually lives in the living room where all of the equipment is set up right now. So put all the stuff in the kitchen, and then I went and did my first shift for my workday, which consists of delivery driving right now for 2 different apps, DoorDash and Uber Eats, which when I'm doing a full day is an 8-hour day. So I was driving from around 10:30 to like 1:30. So just 3 hours. And yeah, making my goals. I've been doing this full time for now over 6 months, which I was doing a video about myself recently, and I couldn't believe that it's been already over 6 months that I'm doing this, because it feels like I'm still barely starting. My life has been crazy these past few months.
We both kind of left our 9-to-5s, not at the same time. There were a few months apart, but definitely within the same year, though.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of those things where like, and you'll hear this from like anyone who's like left to start their own business or like kind of left that matrix, is like you leave and you're terrified, and then you look up and it's like, oh, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Oh wow, the world hasn't like collapsed and I'm not homeless, and like
that's how I feel like.
I mean?
I've just started to realize that everything's chill maybe within the past like 2 months or so.
So the first 4 you were like,
the first 4 I was
mentally?
like, yeah, like I think I'm gonna die. Like I think I'm going to not be able to pay my bills, like, because this was also around the holiday season, so that was another like stress on top of everything. So I think full time, I started doing this in October. And yeah, before that, I had worked one remote job part-time, and there was also another job that I quit 5 days in that I didn't think I was going to quit 5 days in. So like that had blown up in my face. Before that, I was working at a dispensary, which is its whole story, a whole other story of me being in the cannabis industry. And I left for a number of different reasons. But yeah, like it went from I'll just do DoorDash part-time to supplement my other jobs that are definitely stable and will not go away. And then they did. And now I'm here doing DoorDash, and actually it's much better than any of the stuff that I had going on beforehand. So yeah, it's just changing the lifestyle a little bit. I am a lot more self-motivated now, which is new for me. Like I haven't really been self-employed at this extent before. And yeah, it is like, it's apps. Like I'm working for delivery apps, like big conglomerates. But at the end of the day, like I'm the one who's pushing myself out to go to work. I'm the one who takes what orders I want to take, declines which ones I don't. And I think it's just a good practice for me to move on up to do more creative stuff that I've been meaning to do for years, but have let the job and the lifestyle and all of that get in the way.
Living for the weekend type mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you recording today?
Recording today.
So you're recording a video?
Oh, yeah. So I was recording, I want to start recording my drives. So I recorded a video in my car talking about how long I've been delivery driving. And like I had to think back. And it was, October to April. Like, oh my gosh, it's been this long already. But yeah, like I have a GoPro. I think it's a Hero 7, which is an older model, but it gets the job done. It's small. It's a GoPro. It works. I have a mount in my car now, and I got it from eBay for a really good deal. Got like a bunch of different equipment for it too. So yeah, like I have footage that I need to edit that is of me sitting in my car and talking about my workday, which is kind of fun. I mean, like I'm my own coworker. I have a bunch of music that I've been listening to throughout my drives and got into a really good flow of things. Because now I don't know how often people use these apps, but you can get like almost everything off of DoorDash now. So
yeah, sometimes you tell me about some of these orders, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, some of these orders are
fear for humanity.
Ridiculous. I remember, oh my gosh, I thought of an order where I delivered in the middle of pouring rain too. I went to Dick's Sporting Goods and got like a lacrosse net and balls and delivered it to some guy, and he didn't tip me. And he just really needed to play lacrosse in the middle of the night.
Oh, this was at night too?
This was at night, yeah.
Jeez.
Maybe he was getting ready for tomorrow. I don't know. But yeah, he needed that kit.
It was raining. He needed it for tomorrow, and he fucked off and didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And so there was an app for that.
Yeah. Like, I will get whatever you are too lazy to get off your ass to get. And I will do it happily. As a lot of times it's groceries. So I feel more like a personal shopper than like a delivery driver more often than not these days. Yeah.
No, one of the wilder ones you told me was, I mean, there have been several wild ones, and this one, I guess, in comparison, isn't even that wild. But that Chipotle guac one is just so, like, this is why we're failing as a country, pretty much, like, in a nutshell.
I don't know how much that guy paid for just the side of guacamole. Because already, like, if you're at Chipotle, that's going to be, like, $3 plus tax. So how much are you paying through Uber Eats? Right.
When you could just either A, go to the store, and probably for the same price with the not only is it $3 plus tax at Chipotle, but then the delivery fee and all that kind of stuff. You could just go to the store and buy like a whole tub of guac for the $7 you're probably paying for the side.
On Chipotle's website, they have the recipe now. You can just go make it. Why don't you just make it? They want you to make it.
I don't know, man. It definitely has turned me off from doing any like personal delivery. Like haven't. I don't think we've done like a DoorDash or Uber Eats here. Probably since we moved in.
Yeah, I think so. I did one DoorDash delivery, and it was like from Big Lots, which is again like a store you wouldn't expect to be on DoorDash. But I got a bunch of cleaning products because they were cheaper. But you know, at the end of the day, it's like it's gonna round off to being like almost regular price if you're gonna be buying stuff from an app. Yeah. But yeah, like working these systems, I don't think I would ever recommend getting delivery for anything unless it's an emergency and you can't get out of whatever situation you're in.
You become crippled or you're just at someone else's place or something like that. You don't want to navigate around, but like when you're just at home and you need McDonald's, I just can't justify.
Just go down the street and get McDonald's. Some of these orders are literally down the street. Like I've walked to the people's houses sometimes. Like it's nuts.
Well, the thing is sometimes they're further because I know like depending on, I don't know how the app works, like algorithmically.
Oh, yeah.
But they'll just like take the driver that's nearest to the restaurant rather than the restaurant that's closest to you.
Yeah.
So I've definitely like ordered. And so like, why are they coming from the location that I know is further away? There's one down the street. There's like a Burger King or 7-Eleven, whatever, down the street. Why are they coming from? Why is it going to take them 20 minutes? And I think it's just because, there's a driver closest to that one. So we had them pick it up from there. Now they have to drive to you rather than like, that one's 5 minutes away. But
yeah, and that also creates problems where, you're the closest driver to whatever, this Papa John's. But the Papa John's didn't know that you're going to be there in less than 5 minutes. Yeah. So now they have to bake a pizza in 20 minutes and you get to sit down and wait for that pizza.
Yeah.
And then you get to drive to the customer. So very fun.
No, but I think that either way, like, I think it's always good to break away from the matrix, even if it's for a little while. Like you're still under a year. Like you could still return to full-time work if you wanted to. But I think, especially with, we're getting up there and we're at the beginning of middle age, like real middle age.
Yeah.
And I think this is when people's brains really settle into like, okay, this is my life now, whatever this is. And you get used to your salary and benefits and your coworkers and all that kind of stuff. And then you blink and it's been like, now you're 40, and from there it becomes exponentially harder, I think, for people to make those types of risks.
Yeah.
Because usually now you're paying that mortgage on a house. Maybe you've got a kid or two, you know what I mean? And now you have no choice but to become invested in your career. Like, okay, now the only way I'm going to make more money is if I ask my manager.
Yeah. And that terrifies me because like we all know the society that we're living in where it's like working hard and staying at a place for like however many years does not guarantee you're going to get a higher position these days. If anything, it'll be like a higher chance of you getting let go because you're too good and you cost too much money. So I mean, like these past few years have been very eye-opening for me in that sense. Like you have to really think about, what am I doing with my life? Like I went to college for film and media and I haven't really been touching it. And these interests that I've kind of put on hold to kind of follow the path of like get a job at an office and you'll make enough to get a place of your own and then see where things go from there. Like it just didn't really turn out that way for me. So I think this phase in my life where it's very transitory is good for me because I think I'm being forced to really think outside the box and try and take myself as like a number one priority for once instead of like doing something for somebody else. Yeah. No, and same. Like the only issue with it is like there is always like, even once you do kind of find that stability, whatever you're doing, which I've started to find a little bit too with the freelance work that I've been doing, is it's still like you feel like you're up against a clock to like figure out the consistency. Yeah, that can get a little scary.
But it's kind of like, as long as you give yourself some good deadlines and you stay motivated, like you need to figure out what that looks like for you in general, because eventually it's going to happen. Yeah. And most of the time, I think they'll start doing something. Maybe they have a hobby and they're like, oh yeah, maybe I can do this or do that because I like doing it on the weekends. But if you don't have that motivation because you're not getting like kicked in the pants because you have your job and that's going to work itself out, then eventually that hobby like can come in waves, as all creative or like business endeavors, entrepreneurial endeavors do. Like you get a real good fire for it and you buy all this stuff and yada yada. And if it doesn't catch fire immediately, then you get distracted by life and yada yada. Yeah. But if this is your thing, if you're like gonna make it your lifestyle, then you have to like start molding your choices and your behaviors around the thing you're trying to pursue. And otherwise you die.
You have to keep yourself accountable, which is another thing that I've been like on top of myself for, because with these 6 months, like it took a while to kind of figure out what my days look like. Yeah. Because you can wake up and be like, what am I going to do today? I guess I'll drive. But yeah, like I think 2 weeks ago now, I finally wrote myself a schedule, a weekly schedule of what I expect to do during the day throughout the week. And it has helped me shape my time a little bit more. And that's something you need to keep in mind if you do want to start a project, whether that's an artistic project, a business project, whatever it is. If you want to be self-motivated, you have to self-motivate. You can't just expect the motivation to come out from wherever. You have to put it there yourself. Because we get so used to other people giving you the instructions.
Yeah, the tasks.
Yeah.
You're very much institutionalized to feel that way from an early age.
Exactly, like school. Like, finish the assignment, get this percentage so that you can get to the next class and then beat that grade. Like, it's very video gamey, but real life isn't like that. Like you have to keep yourself accountable, or somebody else will keep you accountable.
And usually it'll be someone you don't like.
Exactly.
Or you think is dumber than you.
Yeah. And that's not fun. That's not fun. That'll kill your soul. So you gotta keep yourself on top of it.
So that being said, what are the things that you're outside of, doing the driving, which is the thing to pay the bills, but won't be the thing that you do forever?
Yeah.
What are the other things that you're still nailing down or feel like you are nailing down from this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the 9-to-5 thing.
Well, one thing has been taking classes again. I started to take more video courses through Skillshare, through YouTube. Also, I was taking some classes in herbalism from a school in Northern California, but they were doing it online.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. They offered it again, so that's awesome. I feel like that because I actually really liked school. So when
that's one thing that we do not have.
Yeah, I liked school. I liked the process of school and getting the assignments and all of that. So I feel like putting myself in that structure again has helped me kind of shape, okay, what do I want to do with what I'm learning? I can actually choose what I want to learn now. So yeah, taking classes have been more of a part of my weeks. Writing more in general. I've been writing some blogs because I have a website that I have not launched that I have been sitting on for a very long time.
The website.
The websites, yes.
I love it every time someone says oh yeah, I'm working on my website.
Yeah, where is it?
Working on the website.
Oh, no. So I got a website with blogs that I am writing.
I bought the domain. It's just not live yet.
That's literally where I'm at. It's a Wix. Find me on Wix sometime soon, hopefully. Writing blogs again. I like blogs. I think it's just, taking it back old school internet journal entry sort of thing. My big interests lately.
Erica Albright is a bitch.
Just badmouth people and nobody can tell who you are because, you don't have your username. But no, anyway, what was I saying? And the subject of what a lot of the stuff that I've been into lately that I want to shape my content around and just in general what I want to have my persona be. I'm really into natural living and natural solutions to household items and household patterns. So I took that herbalism course and I've been getting into the experimental phase of making soaps and sprays and laundry detergent. Laundry detergent has been my big thing for these past almost a month now. I just want to make things outside of the hyper corporate products that people buy without thinking about it. making things easier for people. Making soap. I want to make soap. And I have made some soaps. I'm experimenting with soaps and I'm writing about my experimentations with soap.
So where do you see, do you have an end goal with that? Do you know what that looks like? Once you make your soap?
Once I make my soap?
What happens when you crack the soap barrier?
Well, I want to sell my soap.
soap.
Yeah, I have soap and I want to sell my good soap. But I just want to tell people about what makes soap, what makes these products. Nobody thinks about it. They just put it in the dishwasher or they dump their clothes into the washing machine and put goop all over it. And
what are you talking about? We do think about it. When the commercial says 9 out of 10 experts agree.
Who are these experts? Where are they? That's my conspiracy.
Compared to the other leading brands, this one dries faster.
Brands?
Yeah.
How come they never put the leading brands? They just come up with all these stats out of their ass. I want to take the consumer away from that those patterns and start thinking about, is there a way for this to be easier and safer for me and my family, and hopefully cheaper too. Yeah, that's kind of my whole thing. Like, I just don't want people to be mystified by corporations. And right now my thing is soap. I don't want people to be mystified by corporations, period. But I think, yeah, if people can kind of start in the household, they'll start to think about where they can change things beyond that as well, beyond the scope. So yeah, like I just really connect to that. Like I want the power back to the people, even in the smallest
How
of
do you
things.
think, because, okay, so there's always the argument that you vote with your dollar. At least here in America, you vote for your dollar.
You definitely do.
And right now, it's so much easier to not think about what you're buying and just buy, Tide or, what's another big Gatorade or, you know what I mean?
Tide
like whatever
or Gatorade. Mix them together
it's the
for a
same
nice
thing,
cocktail.
basically. Blue Blast.
Yeah, Blue Blast.
And you're throwing away your vote, essentially.
Yeah.
What do you
Your
think
agency.
happens when, enough people in enough industries like yourself come up and say, like, oh, vote instead of think about the fact that you're voting with your dollar and vote for a
different option, a third
essentially.
option.
How do you think the corpos respond? Do you think that they become more underhanded, or do you think that they start to change their practices to fit a mold of someone like yourself?
They already are starting to change their practices. I don't know if you've looked. I've been looking down that Tide aisle, man. I've been going down, every single time that I've been shopping through these like DoorDash orders and I need to shop for groceries, I'm like going down the laundry aisle and like just looking at the options that are available. And Tide already is making more natural products. Like they have their detergent in like a cardboard bottle, or they're coming out with sheets now, like laundry sheets, so that you don't have plastic. So they are 100% aware of where the consumer's mindset is, where I don't want the big tub. I don't want the mystery chemicals. I don't want any of this bullshit that you're charging like a premium for. So they still want to keep a hold of that brand recognition and the people and the families that have been buying their shit for years. So they're like, well, maybe if we just take out all the colors and the chemicals and put it in a different box, you guys will still buy our stuff. But at the end of the day, they still want to make money.
Yeah.
So the other options, like the more natural options, the more like the third brand, the one that people don't go for. A lot of times what kind of keeps consumers from taking that leap is that it's usually more expensive, or they don't know too much about the brand. So I think keeping the price the same as Tide or a little bit less, because at the end of the day, soap isn't that expensive to make if you are breaking it down into the chemical structures of what each ingredient is for. Yeah, make it cheaper, make it easier to understand, and make it fun and bright. And Tide has the big old orange thing with the big blue circle. Like that's all that really matters at the end of the day. People like how it looks, people like how it smells, people like how it cleans. If you could do all of that and be better for the environment and for your skin and for your pocket, perfect. Already the brands are looking at that stuff, but they're dead set on not changing the price. So that's where I come in. And people
gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's not about necessarily, and I'm not just talking about detergent, but in general, like
in general with everything,
the corpos
this is
and
just my
every
example.
like consumer vertical.
Yeah,
it's less about killing them outright and more so like getting enough people behind the third cause that it forces them to change their practices, hopefully for the better and without like putting something fake on the box. Being like, oh no, it's charcoal activated. It's like, it's not really charcoal activated.
People are smarter nowadays. Like you can research things a lot easier because
it was just called, you were watching videos and this was like a greenwashing or something like that?
Greenwashing. Yeah, greenwashing. Yeah, greenwashing is basically when a product says that it's like better for yourself, for the environment, whatever. Like one example is the buzzword 100% natural. What does that mean? Like, what does natural mean? But
it's from the earth.
Yeah, from the earth. Okay. Like natural flavors. Like, what is a natural flavor? They won't tell you. So consumers get really confused when they see that on products, and then that just causes a lot of distrust. And then they'll either go back to what they already know, or they'll try it out and be disappointed that they were lied to. So yeah, like there's already a lot of obstacles that consumers have to go through to just get a task done. Like, I'm just trying to wash my clothes. But we're looking at it from the microcosm of this, like the laundry detergent. But bringing it back to like putting power back to the people, you have to start demystifying things for people. You have to start letting people know that, yes, there are other options for you outside of what you know. And now I'm like getting all super political. Like my brain is like just the gears are turning.
Well, it sounds like the theme of this conversation already is breaking the matrix. So.
It is, yeah. Like, don't believe anything that you read. Turn off all your TVs. Don't let the phone hear.
Anyway, this episode is sponsored by. I have to bleep that out because they don't actually sponsor the episode. No free press.
But that'd be very cool. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm always curious about because my thing is I'm not like anti-capitalist. Like I do believe that there can be a healthy and like laissez-faire market in which like
valid.
everything is essentially voted for with people's dollars. You know what I mean? If a bunch of people want something, then that should be the thing that takes prominence. And if someone wants to kill that thing, if another person has a better idea, a better product, then they need to either beat them at price, beat them at quality. They have to do what they need to do to beat them. And I respect that. I respect kind of the innovation that pushes forward.
Competition. That's cool.
The issue is that like... it's so corrupted.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore.
It's not like that.
They all own each other.
Yeah, they all just own each other. Like all of the competition is congealed into one big blob, and it's tough to compete with like Coca-Cola that owns every other soda. Yeah. You know what I mean? Unless you're fine with being like the niche. You're fine with being Hanks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or something like that, like a niche brand within a thing. So I'm always very curious about like places or markets that don't necessarily have like a big conglomerate attached to it just yet.
Yeah.
And that's why like in general I've stuck with entertainment for so long because I didn't expect necessarily, it's tough to say because the pandemic happened. Yeah. But like my whole thing when I first got into like doing film and stuff was I'll give it my 20s. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm smart enough to do something else, but like, I really want to do this right now. And it's low-key a young man's game. But what's kept me around is also the fact that like entertainment, if you like really umbrella it and you think about movies, TV, content, it's become a very kind of populist economy. Like you can supplement your income by doing content. You don't need you don't need fancy equipment to do content.
The
you don't
sponsorships
need
will come to you, like
distribution to do content. You don't need any of that stuff. You can just kind of get started, and if you have like the cojones and the drive to do it, then you can kind of do it. And I think that's what's interesting. It kept me around, even though like I haven't necessarily cracked Hollywood as far as like what I want to do. I've worked at some studios, but like what's so interesting is there's the conglomerates that did own everything are like cracking like all the time. Like they're losing
the trust,
the plot of like everything. And so there's this very interesting third option that people are choosing, and they're not even really thinking about it.
Not,
that's the thing.
Really
like
cool.
They just realize. Like I ask people all the time, like, so how many movies have you watched this week? I'm like, oh shit, I haven't watched a movie, and like
like I don't.
Like
I'm tuning them out actually.
I just watch TikTok or I watch YouTube or whatever. Or I have a favorite Twitch streamer, and it's like it's not that they're totally out of the zeitgeist. Like they know who Zendaya is dating, but it's like
weird, but they do.
They don't watch movies and TV as often, or if they are, but maybe there's this other third thing that they're consuming at the same time that is very populist at the end of the day. Like anyone can do it, and as long as you have a following and you know how to talk to brands, then you can make a living. You know what I mean? Just being someone's source of entertainment. And I think it is similar to that. And that's why I'm so interested in it still, even though I haven't directed my first feature or whatever. It's like, this is still all very interesting and new and kind of sits in that realm that you were talking about. It's just like, just give people a third option and everything else will change. Like the industry will change to match that. Like, I don't think we're going to kill Hollywood making podcasts, but it certainly has made like regular old A-list celebrities be like, you know
Make
what,
their
maybe
own
I'll start a
podcast.
podcast.
Exactly. This is like,
John Bernthal and like Trevor Noah are like, why would I do
didn't you?
TV?
One of you already had a talk show.
Yeah.
Why do you want a podcast now? Is it because no one's listening to your talk show?
No, it's because fuck the people who were like, telling me what to do on my talk show.
Yeah. So it's people already want freedom from what they've known, even if they aren't voicing it 100% yet. And I think we're at a really cool turning point in history with that, because I'm thinking back to just not necessarily like the Industrial Revolution, like coal and all that stuff, but like the 50s where consumerism was just all-time high in America. Like it was all about what you had in your house, like what you had, what you watched, like if you had the newest TV.
That whole brand name aesthetic.
Yes. And I think we are slowly phasing out of that. It's been a good run. We've been in this bullshit for a really long time. And
I feel like the 2000s were another like peak time for consumerism.
Yes, true.
Too.
Yeah, the 90s and 2000s like were like a lot more advertisements were just like all over the place. Like celebrities were like incorporated with ads a lot more. So just kind of like melding lifestyle with like, don't you want to be hot like Brad Pitt and eat Pringles? Have you seen the Brad Pitt Pringles commercial? You gotta watch it.
Is this recent?
This is old. Like, this is
Okay.
one of the first things he ever did. Like he was doing like Pringles commercials.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah, like 50s, 60s, very consumerist. Well, I'd say 50s for sure. You're rising, and then the 60s happens, and it's still like you have like the hippies and stuff. Like it becomes a little more counterculture.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
into
happening
like
in the 60s.
70s, and then 80s is like, I don't know, probably the perfect mix, which is why we're so obsessed with it. It's like it's counterculture and pop culture at the same time.
And we're all about making money, but also looking really cool and different.
Which is probably why and I'm talking like American history.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some parallels with other countries, but like, I mean, we're familiar because we live here.
Yeah.
And we learned about American history.
And then the 90s, the pendulum kind of swings a little more consumerist into the 2000s. And I feel like 2010s things just get a little weird.
Yeah. And, I think it has a lot to do with the, 2008 and recessions, and nobody can afford anything anymore. So like brands and how much they are charging for their stuff, whether that's like the film industry or laundry or politicians, all of this stuff that they've been selling for and not really changing their messaging for most of the time is starting to get a little old. It's not really hitting with the public anymore.
It is interesting thinking about, so I've been reading a lot on the life of Cesar Chavez lately, and we're in a similar situation, which our formative years, like his formative, like 10 to 13 happens during an economic downturn. Like that's our formative years, like 2008 like is when we're
Millennials,
like
for
just
sure.
kind of waking up as humans and seeing like a housing market crash.
Yeah, like can I get a house?
I don't know what that means, but I know all the adults are sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I was directly affected by that. We lost our house in 2012.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why
it was foreclosed?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
my dad couldn't make the payments, and also they got divorced, so it was already like, let's
whole
get out of here.
storm, yeah.
Let's get out of here and keep jumping houses and rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I didn't know actually for a long time until a couple years ago. I asked my sister, like, what even happened to the house? And she's like, you idiot. It was 2008, like 2008, 2012.
Do the math.
I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
And I feel like that distrust of the system at large never really goes away.
No, I
Like,
mean,
it's
as long
like-
as things stay the same.
Yeah,
they're
especially
not going
when
to.
things like stay the same or only get like minutely better,
Yeah.
right? Like you can kind of see the copium that everyone is in to like keep going, which like I'm not mad at. Like you gotta push forward, but like when you're a kid and it is time for you to buy your first house or vote for the first time, you're like,
this doesn't seem right.
yeah.
Is this really all there is?
Yeah, is this how I feel like we did that last time?
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
it didn't work out. So it's just interesting. I'm curious what our generation is going to really come out with after all of this. Now that we're finally like I said, we're budding middle-aged people, and we're younger millennials.
I don't like
anyway.
that you're saying that. Middle age is going to be 40s. No, you're not. You're not halfway through your age when you're 60 is not when you die.
That's what I said. I said budding middle age. We're still at
Budding
the
middle
cusp.
age.
Like, I'm not saying we're not young people, but this is for sure a different phase of life. You are not like, you are not flailing around in college anymore.
No, it's true. It's
like,
true, but
no one's gonna give you the she's still figuring it out past completely. Like
I think
you're expected to kind of you have. We just talked about like how the 50s were.
Yeah,
like,
but at the end of the day, like how many people do you know that are like adults that are like, I'm gonna move back in with my parents actually because I can't afford rent.
No, I mean, I think a lot of people don't like to
that's
talk
what I
about
mean.
it.
That's what I mean. Like the standards are changing. You know, it doesn't matter that like I'm on the cusp of 30.
I mean less like the standard of what it means to be middle-aged. I mean like the development of the mind.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
we are on the cusp of middle age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're looking at it
old brain.
right in the face.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more context you have about yourself, the people in your life, and where you're at that you could ever have than when you were 22 or 16.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I enjoy that. I know that freaks some people out.
I kind of like it too. It's a little freaky at the same time, but I feel like more whole as a person. Like, I feel like I have better perspective on things, more well-rounded in general. Yeah.
I mean, in general, I just think youth is overrated.
It's a little dumb. It's fun, but it could also be really depressing.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Crazy mistakes.
I don't know. I feel like middle age can be depressing too. I mean, I think every stage.
Yeah, you could be depressed at any age, actually.
But I do feel like I never felt more seen by a piece of media because everyone like loves youth so much. We love to make like I grew up watching. Yeah, you watch high school movies and college movies, and everyone's having a great time. Yeah, there's like a emotional up and down, but like usually it's youth is so beautiful and rah rah rah, and like most superheroes get their superpowers when they're like super young, you know what I mean? It's like a whole
webs through my hands.
Yeah. But I had never felt more seen until I saw the pilot of Malcolm in the Middle, and at the end he looks at the camera and says the best thing about childhood is that it ends. And I was like, finally, someone said it. Why does everyone keep telling me to enjoy this moment in my life?
Yeah.
This sucks. I'm herded around like cattle most of the time.
It is nice to be taken seriously a lot more lately because you've lived the time. You know, you've put in the work. Hopefully.
I think it's nice if you like to make mistakes. Like if you like to make mistakes and get away with it, then like youth is great because all you can just go make mistakes.
People love mistakes.
Yeah, people love mistakes. I don't like mistakes. They depress me. I just think about them all night when I go to sleep. Like, oh, I made all those mistakes, you know. But now that I have more agency over my time and decisions, like I feel like I still make a lot of mistakes, but I am trying to get over the fact that like they're probably not really mistakes.
Yeah, I mean they're lessons. Like I'm trying to think of them as lessons now because back when I was, like youthful, like teenager to honestly, like maybe even just 5 years ago, I was terrified of making mistakes. I was terrified of taking any risks because failing is not an option. Failing means that you've failed and you're never going to get better. And I think like just a lot of indoctrination as a kid from like parents, from school, from just, I guess, societally, like all of these things that are expected of you really start to weigh down on you. And it feels more dire when you're young because that's literally all you're told that you are going to do,
which is messed up. Like they tell you to like enjoy your childhood, but also like if you don't get good grades, you're never gonna get into college. You're gonna be a janitor.
Yeah, or you're gonna die a janitor.
So all you can do is like rebel and be like, watch what happens when I don't get good grades, and that doesn't feel great depending on the personality type that you are. Some people enjoy it. They like get off on being a rebel.
You can't be a rebel. Well, you can be a rebel for the rest of your life, but you just have to direct your energy.
Yeah.
In, you can't just be an asshole. You can't just do things because you're like the fucking Joker or Deadpool or something.
Joker and Deadpool, those are the two categories of rebel.
I feel like, I don't know, I'm just thinking about the 80s, and like we recently went to an 80s bar kind of nearby.
The new wave.
The new wave bar. The amount of Gen Xers in there is crazy. And you know that they're going to be reliving their youth for probably the rest of their lives. And that's kind of spooky to me. Like they are still in that mindset of like, oh, remember when we were young and free and we can just do whatever we wanted. And like, that's fine. But what are you doing now in the present too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think like growing older is learning that you are all of those periods in your life and you don't have to be depressed about the time that has passed. and you can look forward to what's going to happen in the future and like really feel appreciative of all the things that you've learned, all the things that you may have, like even some of the things that you've missed, some of the things that you've gained. Like that's just the beauty of being alive. Like your life is going to be 100% different from the next person's, and connecting with other people and talking to them about it is ultimately what it is all about, which has been hard for me to swallow because it didn't feel like that up until very recently. But yeah, I think it's just like taking charge of your own self, your own life, your own time has kind of helped me
gain that perspective.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of said it. It's just like if you're not succeeding, then you're potentially
losing.
failing.
Yeah.
And therefore, like wherever you're at, whether it's a job or a relationship or whatever, if it's not like moving forward in the traditional way, then like what? It would just depress you.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's like I'm doing everything wrong. It's all downhill from here. I'm not doing it right now, so that means that I'm a failure. Like, I think people get caught up in that, like stuck in the present moment to the point where they can't see a future for themselves, but you are your future. How are you going to change it? Like, don't be passive.
Well, with that in mind, have you, when you were a teenager, did you ever imagine your life as an old person, a senior citizen? Have you imagined your life past 60?
Dude,
not now, but
yeah,
like
when I was a teenager.
Younger, yeah.
No, dude, I used to be that kid that would be like, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna die before I'm like 30. Like I'm gonna live a fast life. And I think that like a lot of people feel that way when they're that young. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna be when I'm that old. Like, I don't even know if I want to get married yet or all that stuff. So no, I definitely was not thinking about it. I was just thinking about, honestly, like getting free from my home, moving out and just being independent, I think was one of the things that I was really looking forward to.
Did you have a clearer vision, do you feel like, in college, like when you were getting close to graduating? How much did you think about that, like, deep future?
In
Not
the
just
deep
like,
future?
oh, what's my job? How's
Yeah.
college going to be? But like, okay, I'm almost done with college. I'm starting to see where my life is headed. Did you get that or not?
Honestly, I feel like it was getting a little less clear throughout college because one, I went into college, I got a full ride, which was extremely lucky. But at the same time, I'm still like an 18-year-old who doesn't really know what they're going to do with their life. So I'm like, I'm going to do film. And I stayed in that degree. Halfway through that degree, I was like, I don't even know if I want this to be what I want to finish. But I felt obligated to. So I think that decision plus, you know, I was like in a relationship, living with somebody at the time. And I felt like, I guess this is what I'm going to do. Like, you know, get a job and then be in a relationship. And I guess from there, you get married and you have kids, right? Like that's what they told me we were going to do. And then I get my degree and then everything will be fine. Like that's kind of what my head was like throughout college. Yeah. So when it all ended, when I graduated, I felt kind of like lost at sea, not going to lie. Because I just didn't feel like I had a good hold on everything. And I think a lot of people go through this. I mean, I would hope so, because I'm just like...
No, yeah, I think a lot of people, if they don't have like a job immediately lined up after college, or like John Travolta, like walking into Mia's house, just like...
Yeah.
I got this degree. Anybody got any jobs?
Yeah, anybody got a job? And I did get a job right out of college, and it sucked. Like, yeah, technically it was like related to my degree, but I was getting paid basically minimum wage. It's like, is this all that it's cracked up to be? And yeah, for a few years, I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And, you know, going to therapy helped me kind of like put my life into perspective. I think that's when I really started to see that, you know, I'm not really making my own decisions. I'm kind of like following the societal path and not 100% sure if that's even what I wanted to do. So yeah, like these past few years have been kind of like me reshaping the constructs that I was living my life by in my youth. And it's interesting. Like, I feel like I've gotten a little bit of a better hold of what I want from life. Like, personally, I really want to experience life. Like, I want to meet people from all around the world. I want to like talk and have conversations, and I want to see different places. Like, I don't want to get stuck in a job. I don't want to be just tied down really in general for a
Yeah,
while.
I mean, the only reason that we're here is because you wanted to take a trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
You took a weekend trip like by yourself, packed your bags, and said, I'm going to rent an Airbnb, and you really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, where are we going to go after? Long Beach, which was very urban. It was a nice
Super city.
spot.
Yeah.
But I think we found it largely out of necessity. And I think we did the best we could with what the time and the space that we had.
For the time.
But after a while, I was like, okay, where do we want to actually be?
And this is a great place.
And because, you're kind of explorative nature, because I wasn't doing that.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I just think that there's so much that people don't take the time out of their day to look into. And I want to do that. I want to test my own perspective and see what's out there. Hopefully that doesn't sound so dreamy. But
it's pretty #wanderlust.
yeah. But it's just who I am. It's just who I am. I don't know. I just think that, especially us as Americans, we don't really think about how much world there is out there. And we stay in our bubble and we stay in the grind of gotta make money so that I can keep my shit going. And I could feel myself falling into that, even on a day to day,
the greater Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's
area.
so hard to survive in here. So, I know that there's more out there, and I just don't want to let age get in the way of me seeing that there's so much life to experience. And getting stuck in your own little cave is. You're gonna regret it when you're actually in middle age.
Well, let me ask you this then. What are the top 2? I won't even give you 3 because that might be tough for you. But you complain about America a lot. In general, Janice complains about America quite a bit. What are the top 2 things about America that you actually like?
That I do like
the most?
Okay.
Yes.
I do like our origin story. I think that the American Revolution was pretty ballsy for a very small country that wasn't even 100% incorporated. Some things were still what did they call them? Territories. We were you know what? Fuck the monarchy. We're just a couple of weird young the Boston Tea Party
frontiersmen.
Yeah, the Boston Tea Party. Most of the kids on the boat were 19 years old. They were college kids. And we were ballsy back then. We wanted to make something new. And that's kind of what I really like about America. Our industriousness, our innovation. We wanted to see what more can we do with what we have and how do we make things work. We had a very industrious time for a while. I think now we've kind of stagnated, which is a big gripe that I have. But I think the way that America was formed, I think, was
still very
cool.
inspirational.
Still very inspirational. I think a lot of other countries just kind of let themselves get moved every which way, but America had that fighting spirit that, I wouldn't say it still exists today. I think it's gotten a little warped. I would love if we were able to grab that again.
Yeah, it's tough because I think we still have it. I think people still are willing to go out and organize and break shit. You look at the Black Lives Matter stuff, that was a lot of young people doing that in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
People were just upset, but it's just so tough. The institutions don't see themselves as a posh British monarchy.
No.
They still see themselves as the group of people who signed the Constitution. Right. So when they're cracking the heads of 18, 19-year-olds in the street, it's but I'm John Adams, right? I can't be wrong.
Yeah.
No. I think you've lost the plot.
Yeah.
You're the posh British monarchy and we're the Boston Tea Party at this point.
We're the peasants that hate you.
Yeah. I think there's a cognitive dissonance there because they're still in all the old buildings and all the, they're in the White House and the Capitals and yada yada. So they feel very physically connected to all that stuff, whereas we're just in our homes, and I think that breaks them a little bit. Yeah. So I mean, I have a lot of hope still. Even though I we're not there yet. I do think that these new generations are seeing
behind the curtain a little bit more, and I predict that there's going to be some crazy stuff that happens in the future with rebellion. We are in a very interesting time cosmologically. If we want to get into the stars.
The cosmos.
The cosmos, the stars.
The eclipse.
The eclipse. We just had an eclipse. We're not going to have another one in 20 years. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll have to get into it. It's a different time. But yeah, that's one thing.
What's the second thing?
The second thing, what's the second thing that I like about America? Honestly, the mix of people that are living here. Because of its very strange history of this place where we just kind of like pick and choose the places that we want to take, and some people will move by their boat and immigrate and start a hot dog stand, and then suddenly their whole family lives here. I think that's very interesting. I think it's more so here because we live in LA that I can see it, that there's so many different mixes of people here. But in general, we're all kind of vibing. I think like news media and politics kind of likes to put it that we're constantly at war with each other and everyone hates their neighbors, but I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, the whole Nightcrawler news.
Yeah,
like urban crimes slipping into suburban neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Narrative.
If you are watching that all the time, of course you're going to believe that that's how we all feel about each other. And like if you watch Civil War by Alex Garland, that's how you're going to feel as well. But no, I don't believe it for a second. I think that in general, Americans are very open to hearing each other's stories and sharing in culture and appreciating culture. And I do like that. Like some of the dream countries that I want to visit are like in Scandinavia. And I think that geographically they're super beautiful and very clean. And they have like environmentalism a lot better down than we do. But at the end of the day, there's like monoculture, you know?
Yeah,
like
they're very homogeneous.
Yeah. I like that we have so much stuff here that we can experience. And, you know, we're a big country, but at the end of the day, it's like we stuffed a lot of people in here and we're all so different. I think that's really cool. I think it gives us an edge as a country where we can move culture in a different way. And that's kind of where we have been as Americans, like because of just our media and everything, really. Like we've kind of stood above a lot of other people's, you know.
Yeah, no, I think we have been. That's one of the pieces of propaganda that I actually think might be true is like for the longest time we've been such a cultural leader.
Yes.
And unfortunately that comes with like a lot of, you know, a lot of art does come from suffering. There's a lot of suffering people here.
Which is sad.
But there's a lot of people suffering for a lot of different reasons. Not all of it is like very direct from like a government or institution. It's just like, yeah, some people were like fleeing their country for whatever reason or like fall on hard times for whatever. And it's like everyone kind of goes about their journey in a very different way. And that just like creates a lot of very different art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone who is suffering and creating art like has like there's such a diverse amount of problems, and therefore we get such a diverse amount of art and ways to tackle it that I don't know if that helps us from a political standpoint because no one can agree on it. Or from an artistic entertainment, like trying to push the boundaries of how we portray people and all that kind of stuff is like, you know, it's really tough for anyone to beat us. Every now and then, like, it's not that I don't enjoy foreign art, but it's just like, you know, sometimes it can feel a little monolithic, whereas here it's like anything kind of goes.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of down, you know, like you can pick and choose what you want to see, and like, yeah, you can stay in your bubble, or you can like jump down and see what other people are doing. I don't know. I think ultimately, I hope that is what cracks the political code. Wow, that's hard to say. Political code that we've been living by for a while of like, two options. You got two options. I think that there's just way too many people from too many backgrounds, with too many stories to tell, and too many stories about their family and how they had to live and how they had to survive through living in America, that I don't think that there's a future for this country where we stay the same. It's just too many people have lived here in the melting pot to want that for their future and for their children. So that's what I gotta hope for. And that's why I like America. I guess why I'm still here. Also because it's too expensive to leave.
As of now.
Yeah.
So
keeps me going.
To kind of, I don't know if this will be the conversation that leads us out, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about DJing.
Hey-o.
And where you're at sonically currently.
Sonically, yeah.
So yeah, we share a lot of music. I feel like you share a little more music than me.
Okay.
Than I do with you. I don't know. I feel like not that you don't have a very open ear, but I feel like I kind of accept a little more music than you at any given time, whereas you'll be in a certain mode.
Yeah.
And, like, you're there and like you can hear other music, but it's not going to affect you from leaving like the phase that you're in.
Yeah, I do go through musical phases. I feel like a lot of times it's based on my mood. Looking back at the music that I was listening to in college, it was a lot of like college radio, indie rock. Like, I'm young, I'm gonna experiment with weird sounds and crazy instruments, and you know that. Oh my God, have you ever heard of the millennial shout or the millennial
Yeah,
scream?
you've described the millennial shout.
Like,
yeah.
Hey. Yeah, in the background of all these songs. So that was college me, and then like my depression music, which I do still come back to every now and then, or like when it's dark and I like driving at night. Cold wave or dark wave, which is like darker sounding electronic music, moody lyrics, kind of unintelligible vocals sometimes. That's been really good. But lately I've been in a very like happy period, kind of party period. So I'm listening to a lot more just electronic music in general. It's hard to really describe what the subgenres are.
Yeah, music's in a strange. Yeah, it's in a strange but fun place.
Yeah,
right now there's been a lot of drops so far in 2024.
Yeah,
but as far as you as a DJ, what do you think right now? I guess have you thought about a strategy as far as you breaking into the DJ scene, or is it just kind of like, fuck it, just do it?
I feel like when I think about this, because I think about this a lot, I feel like I want to have like a night and a day persona. I think my day shows, like my day sets, I want them to be more like fun, summery, electronic dance vibes, and a lot of house. I'm just really into house music. I grew up on house music. My dad showed me a lot of house music. My mom was also really into that stuff when I was growing up. So that kind of dance music in general has always been in my, I don't know, my musical taste. But yeah, like I like to party during the day and I like to get moody during the night, but I still also like to dance. So a lot of the playlists and the sets that I've like curated are kind of reflective of that. I like to pick songs that have lyrics talking a little bit more about how you're feeling internally when you're at a party, or just kind of like how the Smiths were. Everything sounds fun, but
the Killer soundtrack.
Exactly. Everything sounds fun, but you are actually not having a great time mentally. Yeah, I don't know. I just really like music.
I just really like music.
I really like dancing. I want to bring joy to people when I DJ, and I need to DJ more. I feel like I'm still learning how to really like seamlessly move between songs and have like a style of my own. But when I think about like the persona that I want to bring, I do want kind of like a night and day. Like it'd be cool to have like a set where it starts off with that upbeat and then really gets down to the emotions. Yeah.
No, I think DJing is interesting because I've thought about it too, and I haven't really thought about like actually like DJing, like, oh, I'm a DJ, like pay me to come to your party or event or yada yada. But I do like it, like ever since we got the setup, like I do like just playing with it, and I would like to eventually perform for friends. Yeah. But I don't know if I would like actually become a like paid DJ, like, oh, I do this on the side type of thing.
Right.
mainly because not necessarily my taste in music, which I would relatively defend, like not as like the perfect taste. I'm not saying I'm Rick Rubin or anything, but like I think that there is an audience for like my taste in music. The thing that I can't really wrap my head around is like the entrepreneurial elements of being a DJ, like how you tackle the scene, how you make your persona known, like going to parties, and like how to really like undercut the market in an interesting way so everyone knows like, oh, you're this DJ, like I'm Deadmau5 or I'm Sickick, or like, you know what I mean? Like anyone can start passing out business cards and say, hey,
check me
I'm
out.
a DJ. But like as far as like using either content or live shows or like, I don't know, it's so in between, like kind of just being a curator, a content expert, and like an actual band, but not quite a band. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's like, how do I tackle this?
Yeah. And I feel like it's hard to say what really is the right approach. I feel like there isn't one. From what I know about DJs, a lot of it is just like grinding it out and like running into people that like how you sound. And then maybe they'll uplift you at their show or at somebody else's show that they know. So it does feel like, if you want to keep playing live at events, you just have to show up. Like you have to be there, even if like, you know, you're only playing for 30 minutes. It's more of like, do people recognize your face? Do people know like what kind of music you're going to be playing, or at least the vibe that you're going to bring?
Yeah, because we've seen some good like in between set DJs at some of like the shows that we've gone to. Yeah, and there are some DJs who I still like remember. Yeah. But like, I don't know how to find them, or I don't know, you know what I mean?
It feels very like, word of mouth still.
Yeah, I don't know how to like, there's got to be a way to break that barrier of like, I'm a DJ and you're going to remember me even though I only had 30 minutes, even though I'm not headlining the show. And that's the thing I haven't figured out. Maybe if I figured that out or thought about it more, I would actually consider it like as I get better actually mixing. But right now it's just like, I don't know, I just want to know if you had thought about it.
It's interesting because like one DJ that I know that has been kind of coming up in rank and is relatively new. Her name is Horse Girl, and she wears a horse mask during her sets. And I feel like, you know, you think about Daft Punk, you think about Marshmello, you think about Deadmau5, like.
And even Sickick. These are all people who wear masks.
They have the image, you know, if you have a good light show, if you have a good costume, if you're dancing a certain way, if you have that persona, I feel like music almost becomes secondary. Like as long as you're bringing that, like, who is this character behind the soundboard? Like, I want to know more about them. Like, I think that that makes a big difference because people are just visual in general. They want to party with the weirdo. So if you can bring that weirdo energy, then that's always going to be good.
Do you have something in mind?
I do, actually. So my DJ name is Psychic T, and I have been known to partake and dabble in some witchy, crafty stuff. So I don't want to give away my secrets yet, but
what do you mean? You're gonna drop the Neopets username?
No, I'm not dropping the Neopets username.
And your DJ shtick here live. Well, not live, but recorded on tape.
Oh man, I really want to incorporate candles and crystals on my setup. Like I want to cast spells. You know, I want to wave around my selenite wand and transition into the next song. You know, I want to make it feel like I'm casting a spell on the audience, because a lot of time, I mean, if you really think about it, that's kind of what concerts are. Like, let me put your hands up, like let me see you like jump up and down,
make some noise.
Exactly. Like you're compelling a crowd to do something. So,
and taking their energy to do your thing.
Exactly, which is like that's all craft, you know. And I'm big on crystals. I love me some crystal energy. I think crystals and sound in general work really well together. Like crystals are in a lot of electronics, especially quartz. So I want to kind of incorporate that. Sound bowls is another example. So yeah, I want to bring those kinds of visual elements to my show. I've thought about it. There's a set that I have been. It's more of like a set that I want to record, where I do incorporate this and like light a candle for the world, basically, in the middle of a certain song. And yeah, I just think that would be very cool. I wanna be the witch behind the board.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess I'll let that be the sneak peek that people get from now. So if people want to find you on Neopets, where should they go?
You know, you will find me very late at night. That is a hint to my username. It is if you are an insomniac, you will find me.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't.
Fine.
No Neopets. Do not send me any Neo mails.
Well, Janice, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Now you can just go to your room.
Go to your room. Send me to my room. Well, it was very fun to talk. This has been interesting to be behind the microphone. Hopefully,
I know you've seen several guests already. Now you can empathize with all of them. As to what it's like talking with me on the other side of the bar.
It is very natural. I mean, it doesn't really feel like anything is different. So
Okay,
I think you're a good conversationalist.
I'm doing my best.
You're doing great.
Sweating bullets over here.
No, I can't tell.
But yeah, thank you for joining us here on Dope.
Yeah.
Do you know how to outro us out?
Yeah. Okay.
You've seen it done a couple times.
I've seen it. So I go to my camera.
You go to your camera. I'm not even gonna explain. I'm just gonna let you take us out.
All right. Well, my name is Janice, and this has been Dope.
Scrolloholics.